Welcome to another EncellaDome video, the channel helping you get smarter. This video was suggested by a subscriber to the channel and he wanted us to do a topic on the various methods used for power generation for the national grid. He also wanted us to consider some reasons why some countries are forced to carry out power rationing, which is also known as load shedding. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so and click the notification bell so to enable notifications and you can get notified every time that we release a new video. Let's jump right into the various methods of power production and we're going to look at the pros and cons of each method. In a coal power plant, steam is obtained in very high pressure inside the steam boiler by burning pulverized coal. This steam is then superheated in the superheater to extreme high temperature. This superheated steam is then allowed to enter into the turbine as the turbine blades are rotated by the pressure of the steam. The advantages of a coal power plant are: 1. The fuel used, coal, is quite cheap. 2. The initial cost is less as compared to other generating stations. 3. It requires less space as compared to hydroelectric power stations. 4. Construction and commissioning of thermal power plants takes lesser time than a hydroelectric plant. 5. A coal power plant can be constructed at any place because coal can be transported to the plant irrespective of its location. The disadvantages of a coal power plant are: 1. It pollutes the atmosphere due to production of smoke and fumes. 2. The running costs of the power plant is more than that of a hydroelectric power plant. And 3. Coal is a non-renewable resource. Nuclear power stations are similar to coal power stations in more ways than one. However, the exception is that radioactive elements like uranium and thorium are used as a primary fuel in place of coal. The other difference is that in a nuclear station, the furnace and the boiler are replaced by the nuclear reactor and the heat exchanger tubes. In the process of nuclear power generation, the radioactive fuels are made to undergo fission reaction within the nuclear reactors. The fission reaction is accompanied by large amounts of energy produced, which is manifested in the form of heat. This heat is then transferred to the water present in the heat exchanger tubes. As a result, superheated steam at very high temperature is produced. Once the process of steam formation is accomplished, the remaining process is exactly similar to a coal power plant, as this steam will further drive the turbine blades to generate electricity. 1 kilogram of uranium can produce the same energy that can be produced by burning 4,500 tons of coal or 2,000 tons of oil. The advantages of a nuclear power plant are: 1. It requires less space than a coal power plant or even a hydroelectric plant. 2. It can produce extremely high amounts of electrical energy from one single plant. 3. It does not produce pollutant gases as is in the case of a coal power plant. And 4. A nuclear power plant needs a relatively small amount of fuel. The disadvantages of a nuclear power plant are: 1. It has high initial construction costs. 2. It has high operating and maintenance costs. 3. It produces radioactive waste, which is hard to safely dispose of as it can remain toxic for thousands of years. And 4. It has a high risk of radioactive pollution or even an explosion. There are two ways to generate electrical energy from sunlight. 1. You can create electricity directly by using photovoltaic cells. A photovoltaic cell is made up of a semiconductor such as silicon. Many cells will be connected in series or parallel to make a solar panel. The second way is to produce heat with the help of mirrors from the sunlight, and then we can use this heat to convert water into steam. Once the steam is generated, the process can run just like that in a thermal power plant. The advantages of solar energy are: 1. The system is environmentally friendly. 2. Maintenance costs are low. And 3. It is an ideal source for remote locations that cannot be connected to the grid. The disadvantages of solar energy are: 1. It requires a large area of land for bulk production. 2. Generation is limited by the availability of sunshine. And 3. Solar energy battery storage is quite costly for wide-scale use. Wind turbines are used to convert wind energy into electrical energy. Wind energy is the fastest growing electricity resource in the world. The advantages are: 1. Wind energy is an unlimited, free and clean source of energy. 2. The operating cost is almost zero. 3. The wind generating system can produce power in a remote location. The disadvantages are: 1. The amount of electricity produced is limited by the amount of available wind. 2. It needs a big open area. 3. The construction process of a wind turbine is expensive. And 4. It gives out a relatively low power output. A hydroelectric power plant works by harnessing gravity. Water is stored in a dam or reservoir. When this water is allowed to flow, the movement of the water as it flows downstream towards the penstock causes kinetic energy that rotates turbines. The advantages are: 1. The water used for power generation can be reused for other purposes such as irrigation. 2. Dams can be used for extended periods of time, even decades or even hundreds of years. 3. Running and maintenance costs are low. 4. It requires no fuel as water is used for the generation of the electricity. 5. It is a neat and clean energy production method. The disadvantages are: 1. The initial cost of a hydroelectric power plant is high. 2. Construction of dams can flood towns and cities. 3. Availability of water depends upon weather conditions. 4. It requires high transmission costs as the plant is usually located in remote areas. A general increase in demand occurs when the number of households getting connected to the electrical grid keeps rising, but the infrastructure is not being upgraded in order to cater for the increasing population. Another way a demand occurs is during peak hours, when families return from work and school and start using high energy appliances such as geysers, stoves, pressing irons, and bulbs in the house all at once. Reduced electricity production is usually as a result of aging power infrastructure or a breakdown in equipment. Certain types of power stations are naturally prone to reduced outputs at certain time periods. For example, low water levels in a hydroelectric power plant will reduce the electricity production. At the same time, low availability of sunlight in a solar-powered power plant will also reduce electricity generation. Some power utility companies heavily invest in only one method of power generation. For example, a utility solely relying on hydropower will always experience power shortages whenever there is poor rainfall in the country or region. The solution would be to invest in various methods of generation and have a hybrid system. A company could use a combination of solar, wind, and hydro, so that, for instance, they primarily run on solar and wind energy during the day, then slowly increase the production from their hydropower plant as the sun reduces in intensity. As an added measure, a coal power plant could be on standby to only be fired when the present demand exceeds what can be supplied by the other methods. Most power grids run directly from generation to transmission to distribution to the consumers. As such, there is no buffer to store excess power in times of high generation to be used later on during periods of low generation. Battery storage at power grid level is quite expensive, and the technology still has a way to go. But with rapid improvements in battery energy density, coupled by reduction in price per kilowatt hour, such as in Tesla's power pack offerings, it's high time power companies started investing in battery storage for the power grid in order to better manage fluctuations in demand and supply. Thanks to Expert Engineering for sponsoring this video. Expert Engineering Limited is a Zambian company made up of extremely competent, highly skilled engineers. You can contract them for all your construction and engineering projects, and they will deliver high quality work in the agreed time frame and at a cost that will not break the bank. You can also reach out to them if you want to hire some labor such as electricians, welders, belt splicers, fitters, or any other supporting staff that you're going to need to complete your project, and they will supply you with a workforce that you can count on to complete that project. For those of you in Zambia, Expert Engineering also offers high performance yet fuel efficient portable gensets for your energy needs, both industrial and for home use. You can contact them on the number showing on the screen, which will also be in the video description, or you can search for them on Facebook at Expert Engineering Limited. If you would like to advertise your products or services on our platform, then don't hesitate to contact us. You can send us an email or you can directly message us on our Facebook page, and we'll be able to get in touch with you and find out how best we can help your business grow. If you like what we do here and would like to sponsor us so that we can continue producing educative content like this one, then consider becoming a Patreon by going to patreon.com/EncellaDome and become a patron so that you can keep us financially healthy. We've come to the end of the video, and thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends so that they can also benefit one or two things.